See, when you are a fresher, no, so it's very difficult for you to prove that I know a certain skill. You went to Pytm career space. You saw there's a data science opening at Pytm for a fresher. Soft skills are very, very important, and I will tell you why. Even if you're a fresher, those who are listening to us, basically, if they want to grow in this field in analytics, what kind of project they should choose. So these things, as a student, no one take care of it. All they see is I'll be getting a CSV, I'll be getting a data set, I'll do create a Jupyter notebook, my project is done. So basically, knowing DSA is also one of the critical component in analytics. See, any company, any good company, be it Google, be it Facebook. I've given interviews at Google for machine learning. It was a machine learning role, but they said like 4 rounds DSA, nothing else. So even for machine learning, you need to crack DSA. Yeah. A lot of companies where applicants are so high, volume is too large. They don't know how to filter. DSA is one component. Then analytics, machine learning is one component. Then on top of that, generative AI is now an additional component. And then we see every day a new LLM model is getting introduced. So there is a lot in plate for a beginner to choose what is right and what is wrong. So as a mentor, what do you suggest the students to start with, and what is the right direction? How to tackle the generative AI scenario right now? Because
hello everyone, I hope you all are doing well. So in today's podcast, we have Sumit Tyagi with us, who has an exceptional journey starting from being an intern to becoming a lead data scientist at PayTM. Wanted to know how to get hired in PayTM or any product company? Looking for some secrets? Then do watch this complete podcast, and for any questions, just drop your comment and we will get it answered. Let's get started. So welcome Sumit to this podcast.
Thank you, Sumit. Thank you so much.
First of all, I want to understand about your background when you were in your 12th class, so that we can understand how you were in your studies, and probably this will help most of our viewers to understand that if someone has a certain background, that does not mean he or she cannot lead a position of analytics. So this will actually help our viewers to clarify their doubts regarding their background.
Sure, I think that's a interesting question. And as far as my background is concerned, I believe that in my 12th or maybe in like my school time, I was not a very bright kid, the very hardworking ones, but I knew that somewhat, like I had that analytical background, or maybe I was good at mathematics. So I knew that I'm more than average in problem solving, and I would say good in my 12th. So I got like 90% in my 12th, where like 95% in mathematics and other PCM subjects. So that was my, I would say, academic background there. But I was always very interested in learning new things, and I had an inclination towards computer science. So it was like I really wanted to work in basically in computer science, specifically a combination of computer science and mathematics, which I didn't knew at that time was analytics, obviously. But that was my, rationale that I wanted to work in this field.
Okay. So when you were in your college, and which branch you were in?
So I was in computer science engineering.
Computer science.
Yeah.
Okay. So while you were in CSE, how you were, like, what was your interaction with the coding and programming?
Okay. So see, again, everything about me was tier 3 till I started working. So my calls, like the city was tier 3, again, school and everything. So I didn't have that much of exposure to coding initially when I went to college. But then, I took some courses, and I realized the people who are in my batch in the course, they are doing something different than me. So I learned from them basically. So what things I need to do. So initially I started with C++, learned basic coding. But the only thing was, like, I believed in myself that I was a good problem solver, and I was able to write the code, and I was persistent. So let's say if there is a problem, I need to solve the problem. Sometime it takes like 10 minutes, it might take 40 minutes or a day. I had that in my mind that I need to solve it. And then I would say from basically taking a course and getting exposure to other batchmates in my course, because I think that's very important. If you get the guided direction from a teacher or from a mentor, that's very important. I think that was the game changer for me. I learned that I need to do DSA. I need to practice more. What type of problems I need to solve for. So that in that way I started.
So, Sumit, as per your experience in your first job interview, as you mentioned, what made you clear that particular company, given that you were from Tier 3 college?
Yeah, I think the very first thing was getting the interview. So over there, it was all about persistence, your network, and maybe your alumni, how you reach out to people. Second was my preparation. So I was continuously practicing the coding. I mean, hands-on coding. Then I was solving case studies on Kaggle. I knew standard machine learning algorithms, and I have implemented those algorithms from scratch, not from the library. So I think these three, four things was good enough for me to get my first job in analytics.
So you mentioned about network.
Yeah.
So how it helped you in the first job role?
See, when you are a fresher, no, so it's very difficult for you to prove that I know a certain skill. A very exceptional people, they do something. Let's say they win a hackathon, maybe an international hackathon. Maybe that's the first. Maybe some people, for exceptional people. I mean, those type of things is what they do. Then for rest of us, I mean, who are not that much of exposure, for us it's all about reaching out to just simply maybe writing, connecting. Let's say if you're sending a connection request, just don't click connect. Maybe write, hey, hi, hi. Let's say, hi Sumit. My name is Sumit, and I'm just graduating from this particular college, and I see that your company is hiring, and I believe my skill set is a close match. Could you please accept my connection request so that we can discuss it further? This particular snippet, is I've been using it from last 5 years, and it works like charm every time. That's how I built my connection. Yeah.
But what I have seen, like most of the students nowadays think that applying for jobs over LinkedIn or Naukri will get them interviews, but most of them actually don't use this strategy. So how many job interviews you think one can crack if they follow this strategy?
See, on Naukri.com, it's quite difficult. See, there are two ways how by which you can reach. You land an interview. The very first thing is the automated way. You upload your resume, and you basically write all the keywords. Maybe on Naukri, on whatever platform you do it, there will be some filters that gets applied. Your resume gets shortlisted. You get a call. One approach. Second approach, and this approach very rarely works. It works for people who have great profile. Only let's say 2% of the people it works. This approach works. Other approaches, maybe doing this personally. Let's say I'll give you an example. Maybe let's say take example of Pytm only. You went to Pytm careers page. You saw there's a data science opening at Pytm for a fresher. As a fresher, what I'll do is I'll open LinkedIn. I'll go to Pytm. I'll see the employees. I'll filter all the HRs, then all the data science people there. Maybe all the data science seniors. What I'll do is I'll send them a connection request. Let's say 10 people, 10 to 15 people, I'll send them a connection request with the same snippet. Hi Sumit, my name is let's say Sumit, and I'm working like I'm a fresher. I just graduated. I see there's an opening at your company, and my skill set is a close match. Could you please accept my request to discuss it further? That's it. I mean, this snippet works like charm. Send a connection request. Out of 10, maybe 2, 3 will or 4 will accept your request.
Correct.
1 or 2 will reply.
Definitely.
Okay. And that 1 or 2 people will refer you out. So this is the strategy that I've been following from last like 5 years. I never applied on Naukri. I never found any other platform. LinkedIn worked for me for my all the opportunities or interviews I gave. LinkedIn worked.
If you want to hire someone, how important is the business understanding and the technical knowledge? Like this combination, how important is for a student to understand, and then the presentation skills, like how to talk and basically the soft skills.
Okay, yeah, that's an interesting question. See, soft skills are very, very important, and I'll tell you why. Even if you're a fresher, you need to make it easy for other people to work with you.
Hmm.
So on whatever thing you're working, I mean, you should be able to explain that in a very easier way to your seniors, so that they can take it forward from you and maybe give you some feedback. And again, soft skill will help you taking that feedback in a positive way, and will help you grow. In order to attain, let's say, soft skills, I would say it's all about. It's not language dependent again. I know fresher. I mean, I knew a lot of people who they were not very good at English, including me. But we were good at explaining things. We were good at let's say putting our thoughts in front of people. Language barrier, it will get eradicated as soon as you don't have any option. You'll be sitting with people who only understand English. You will not have any other option. You have to speak English, and I think a mere, I think 4 or 5 days, 6 days, you'll get comfortable. That's one thing about having soft skills. As a senior, now at that particular moment, there's no like option. You need to have soft skills, and I would say very good soft skills, because there will be times where you have done everything technically, but your customer, your stakeholders are not aligned with it. You have to get them aligned. For that, you may need to play some tricks. You may need to explain them. Let's say, be a very famous meme. This is not a bug. It's a feature. So these type of things you need to do a lot when you are at a senior position. Maybe you may face some heat from the customer, from stakeholder. You need to dissipate that. You should not dissipate that heat to your junior level. So you need to come up with answers. You are responsible for something. So maybe delivering those answers in a more diplomatic way, software skills helps a lot in that.
Okay. Those who are listening to us, basically, if they want to grow in this field in analytics, what kind of project they should choose? Because choosing first project or maybe first 2 3 projects in your career plays a very important role deciding your entire journey in this field. So what kind of project you worked and how it helped you?
Sure. So, see, as a student, most of us, we have time. Okay. And if you have time, any person who have time, I will suggest them to start with classical machine learning. And that is what I did in my company also. Even though the project was not computer vision, but I started with traditional machine learning, where we have to build classification model, regression models for, I cannot name the clients, but yeah, they were like Fortune 10, Fortune 100 clients is what we had. So we had to create models, and that is the first thing. I mean, first I would say skill that people need to get. But a lot of students, what they do is creating a model or creating a project for them is like creating a Jupyter notebook. So what they do is, they know this is the data set, they load it, they will do exact steps what they have seen on internet. They fit a model, then they do predict, then they do save. And that Jupyter notebook is a project for them. But in industry, when you will land a job, you realize this is not a project. This is just a part of software engineering life cycle. Basically, gathering requirements is what I learned in the company. That is very important. Then no one will give you a clean CSV. You have to tell your stakeholders what data you need. Okay, that is what I learned in my company. Then they'll not give you the correct data.
Okay.
Most of the time, stakeholders, they'll say, okay,
Your data.
make it work. Make this work. So you'll not get there will be no happy scenarios around data. 80% of the time goes into data cleaning. That is what I learned at my company. So these things, as a student, no one take care of it. All they see is, I'll be getting a CSV, I'll be getting a data set, I'll do create a Jupyter notebook, my project is done. No. First initial parts, yeah, whatever you learn, like creating all those steps and basically fitting the model, that is good. Now, fitting the model and saving it, that doesn't end your project. Again, there's some life cycle after that also, which student ignores. Taking that model, making it usable, consumable to the user. Let's say if you created a computer vision model. Let's say you have a model to detect anything. Your model is saved in your laptop. Like, what is the use of that? Now, how someone will consume? You cannot, to a non-technical person, you cannot provide them a Python file, and say, okay, click run. You cannot give them steps. The Anaconda, install Anaconda, then pip install requirements, run. You cannot do that. So you need to think of how you can make this model consumable. Build some wrapper around it, maybe a mobile application or a website, whatever suits best for your users. Then it still doesn't stop at that point. People say, okay, some students, I would say bright students, they do this, but it doesn't stop till there also. You need to monitor that model. There will be cases where let's say there will be a concept drift or data drift. I'll give a very good example. Maybe let's say Twitter, profanity models, which filter bad words. So the model is there. Now it takes like a day for humans to create a bad word, to make a good word, convert it into a bad word. So now my profanity model doesn't know this. Now this word has become a bad word. So I need to retrain it. So this is an iterative process. This is what a lot of students miss. This is what I learned at my company there at Absolute Data. So over there, I believe the 2 years that I spent there, all of these things, except coding, and I was saying coding, ML techniques and everything. This is what I've been doing from past. But in this particular company, I learned all of these things, which was very important.
So basically, when you need to understand if the problem statements comes to you, then what kind of data you need.
Correct.
Then getting the right data is again a challenge.
Yep.
Then making it fit into a model and feed into the model, it's again a challenge.
Yep.
Then building a model will take a fraction of time, and then
making it
consumable is another challenge, and then monitoring it. So basically, if someone wants to, the students who are listening to us, if they want to do an actual project, then that is a kind of project they do.
Absolutely.
Like they should do, right?
They should do, yes.
And even if they can do one or two such detailed projects,
one project,
but
you're
such
hired.
a detailed.
Yeah. If one project at this level, you're hired.
Well, you should be able to demonstrate that you have even tracked the performance of the model after providing it to, let's say, your users.
Let's say if I'm interviewing someone, 99.9% people, as a fresher, all I get is I see a Jupyter notebook. I see a GitHub link. Okay, and in that GitHub link, it starts from reading a CSV, ends by like saving a model. There are very few person as a fresher who know all of these things, and they are instantly hired. We don't even bother asking us, sending into second rounds. They get hired if they do these things
because they have very good clarity. Yep. Okay, so then how you landed into PayTM, because this is like the major question for which everyone is listening to us.
Yeah. So see, there is nothing wrong about my Absolute Data job. This is something which I would have retired, honestly. I liked the job very much. The company was very good. Everything was good. But I realized again there was some saturation around my role. I was doing the same thing again repeatedly, and I felt that again it was a service-based firm. I wanted to taste a very big product firm. Reason being is I started my journey from a product company. I shifted to consulting. Then I thought, now I have acquired all these skills. What if I shift to a product company and maybe let's see what I can learn there also. So then what I did is I started interviewing again, and again referral helped. One of my friends, they referred me at PayTM and other companies. There were other companies like Bharat Pay. I interviewed a lot. Some foreign companies I also interviewed. I got some interviews I cleared, and PayTM was one of them. My primary concern was getting work from home. Thing is, like 5-10 lakh kam milega, like getting some less CTC, but work from home for me it is like charm, because I never worked from office till date. Till also I just work from home. So I got a referral in PayTM. Then they HR called me. They did a screening round. So in screening round, generally what happens, HR has some skilled fixed questions, and to them they have fixed answers. What is the complexity of merge sort?
Okay.
Fixed question, fixed answer. So they just see like out of 10 questions how much you answered correctly, and then let's say if it is like more than 8, 7, you went through screening.
So
And
the when it comes to screening, it will be all technical screening.
uh, primarily, see, deciding factor is technical screening only. They do screen other things also, like maybe they'll ask you what is your college and all the other details also. But deciding factor, technical screening only.
So when it comes to technical screening, what combination of questions were from DSA? What combination of questions, or I would say percentage of questions, were from core data science?
Okay.
Then core data analytics.
Assume 60% of the questions will be around core data science, around 40% of the questions will be around coding. So this comes from the requirement that the person who now I'm hiring, so I know that I'll tell the HR ki they should know coding, they should know machine learning, they should know GCP. So I'll give the weightage also. So on the basis of that, generally company decides the question weightage.
So first is screening, where it will be like simple Q&A type of thing. You answer 5 out of 10. If you cross the, or maybe
bar,
you cross the bar, and then you shift to next round. So what's the
next round for me? It was just the interview, but mostly it is a technical coding round.
Okay.
So over there, what you get is you get 3 questions, 2 or 3 questions, and those are from DSA. Let's say lead code medium and lead code hard.
Okay.
And then few MCQs. MCQs from machine learning. Questions you do 1.5, 1.75 questions. Well, think of it like medium lead code, solve it completely. Hard, 50% of test cases works. Like this, if this is the scenario, you're through. MCQs you're expected to answer almost correctly because it's again MCQs and they are not very hard. If you have some experience, 2-3 years of experience, you'll be able to clear it. So that was
the second round.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, knowing DSA is also one of the critical component in analytics.
See, any company, any good company, be it Google, be it Facebook. I've given interviews at Google. So what they mentioned is, I think I gave interview for software engineer 4 level 4 photos, Google photos, machine learning. It was a machine learning role, but they asked, they said like 4 rounds DSA, nothing else.
So even for machine learning, you need to crack DSA.
Yep. A lot of companies where applicants are so high, volume is too large, they don't know how to filter, so they just put a filter in front.
So DSA is like a filter.
DSA is like a filter, yes.
Okay, great. So after that, what level, what round happened?
So this is an optional round. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't happen. In my case, it was not there. I got the interview. In interview, what they did is they already, DSA round is already cleared, so they don't expect you don't expect a lot of DSA questions there. What do you expect is they'll provide you a data set. On that data set, they'll ask you the questions that an analyst generally gets in mind. For example, you get a finance data, so they'll ask you for this particular company on that particular day, what was the average cash flow. Now you need to write, you need to extract that data from Python. So first half of the interview, this is how it goes. And then there are some questions around whatever you have mentioned in your resume, your particular projects. So they'll grill till you say, okay, I don't know. I mean, they'll grill you. So basically, like for example, I mentioned I worked on clustering. So it was for one of the companies in Malaysia. I was in Malaysia there. So they started, okay, what is clustering? What algorithms you have used? Okay, I said, okay, I used k-means. Why not DBScan? Okay, I didn't use DBScan for so and so reasons. When you will use DBScan? On what cases you will use DBScan? Okay, I answered. I'll be using DBScan if this is the scenario. Maybe dense clusters which are into each other. So and so. How you will evaluate which one is better? Answered. Then let's say you productionize this. You are getting new data. How you will evaluate? Let's say same algorithm. Both run give you 3 clusters. How you will evaluate which one is better? Evaluation matrices. So they'll grill you till like, okay, I said Shillet score. Why not other? So fortunately, I worked on it. I worked for client, and I think 3 months I worked. I said David Hamilton. I'll use this score. Why not? When you will use Devil Hamilton, not Shillip? Well, it goes on for forever unless it. I mean, either the time will get over or you will say no. So one of the things.
Basically, if you have worked, you should
only
be,
then. Yeah.
you should be able to answer it. Otherwise,
You'll not be able to answer. Now think of it like this is a time where people cheat a lot. I know people they wear glasses. I interview them. I speak something and they wait for a minute. Then I see from their glasses a chat GPT writing all the getting prompt and populating the response. So at that time you have to ask these type of questions that is there. So that was I think the very first interview, the interview call, the first one.
so after you cleared this interview, then what happened?
Again another interview.
Okay.
That was, I would say, that was an interview around system design. I mean, I'll give you an example what I got at PayTM at my third interview, like level 3 interview. So over there they asked me that okay, we are working at PayTM. Now you need to increase students pay their college fees using PayTM. Because college fees is an empty amount, we want to increase the volume of transactions and number of transactions, like amount of transaction. So because that will help us grow our business. How you will do it? There is different solutions. Like sales will come up with their solution, marketing person they will come up with their solutions. But as a machine learning team, or as a machine learning engineer, or as a machine learning lead, what is your approach to this problem? Now this is a very wide business problem. So generally, what I try to convert this problem into a mathematical problem. This business problem. First, I try to see what part can be converted into a mathematical problem. Generally, most of the time it is optimization. Maybe you need to increase a number, you need to decrease a number. Then think of what are some factors on which this change of this number depends. Okay, that particular factors will help you ask cross questions or clarification questions. So then convert that into a computational problem and then into a machine learning problem. Generally, this is the right approach. So for this particular problem, what I said, I give an example. Say, so I thought, okay, I need to make students pay their fees. So first I need to find out which user is a student. So for that, what I'll do? Then I thought, okay, I'll see the volume of transactions. Generally, students do small transactions. I'll see location of their transactions. Is it near a college or not? At what particular shop they're paying? What type of shop they're paying? Are they paying to a stationery shop? Are they paying to small vendors? Then what is their credit inflow and their debit? So are they getting amount from, let's say, their parents? Persons, and they're just spending it on, let's say, commercial businesses, because that's a good indicator that this person is a dependent on someone else, because they're not earning something. It's just that they're getting money from a person and they're spending it on for their living. That's a good indicator a person is a student. So these factors, this is the data which I'll collect. Then I'll train a model to find out if this person is a student or not. Maybe I'll do an unsupervised or supervised learning for that. Then so this is how it goes on. But generally, on a general standpoint, very first thing, take a pause, 2-3 minutes, think about the problem, recall as many clarification questions as you can. That helps a lot. This will reduce the complexity of a problem. One problem I got asked in the interview is, there's a PCB board, you click the picture, you convert all the information in a consumable format. Now I asked the connectors, the components which are connected, are all these connectors same or not? They say, okay, assume it to be same for now. Around 30-40% of complexity gets reduced. Okay, so clarifying question always helped you. They reduce the complexity of problem. After that, second advice would be think aloud, think loudly. Let's say if you're thinking something, just don't be on mute. Just unmute yourself. Whatever you're thinking, speak it. Okay, I'm thinking of using generative AI on this, but I believe this is a computer vision problem. So maybe I'll use object detection technique, and in this way, you're opening a ground for interviewer to ask questions, maybe deviate from, and then they'll readily help you. So when you say you'll be going at wrong direction, they'll pause you. They'll give you some hints, and if you think loudly, probably that's the right approach. So no one will expect from you answer 100%. They just want to think. Are you able to think along the lines and come up with a
Valid solution.
valuable
solution.
minimum valuable solution to that with some help, definitely.
So basically, the way to crack this round is just think aloud so that you are able to communicate, and then doing a proper healthy conversation and discussion is basically the way to crack these rounds. So once you cracked this round, then what was your second? After that,
I think this was the third round. Then I had a fourth round, and that was Techno-managerial round. So over there, I think it was with VP. This is, I mean, if you are at that round, you are probably selected. It's just like they wanted to know about the person, or is it like the person is a filler entry or not. So VP, they asked me how much I know about PayTM. They gave me some business understanding, like what is all the team about. Then they see a culture fit. So they saw my profile. They saw I worked on a lot of latest technology, deep learning, blah blah blah. They said, "Bhai, we don't work. We are not that advanced. We think of it like we are a bank. You're joining a bank. Are you ready to join?" I said, "Yeah, why not? Let's take this experience also." So this type of questions is what they'll ask. They'll see like if you're aligned with the current team or not. That's the easiest round, I would say.
So in which year you joined PayTM?
I guess it is in 2022 and last of no, I think 2023. Yeah, mid 2023 I joined. I guess.
So I think in 2023 there was like a rise in the usage of ChatGPT and generative AI was becoming adoptable. So how you found it relevant in your job, or whether you use those technologies in your job role?
Definitely. So see, at PayTM also I worked on generative AI conversational agents. Right now in my company, I'm still working. I mean, on those projects. For PayTM, think of it like every company using technology. They want to reduce the workforce. Let's say previously people used to calculate using calculators. Before that on paper. Computer got introduced. That I mean, let's say previously 10 people were working in accounts. Now 2 people are working. Most of the things are done using computers. Same thing goes hand in hand when machine learning comes into picture. Let's say if in a sales center 100 people are there, they're taking calls, resolving issues. The very first level, you introduce a generative AI, let's say platform where customers can come up, they write their problems. You will be able to better filter the problem, and also provide initial support, initial level support. Maybe let's say out of 100 calls, 20 calls gets resolved by generative AI only. Then there are 80 calls which are still going through. But those 80 calls still are enriched now with more information. So that a customer support agent can now take the call in a better way. Then once the call is done, they create a summary ticket. You can use that summary ticket to train the models again. So if the same type of problem comes again, the agent will able to solve the problem by itself. And the model will able to, let's say, provide solutions. So in this way, let's say if 100 people are working, it will get reduced to 50, then 20, then maybe 3-4 people just supervising the models and the call center. That's it. So these type of projects is what I worked at PayTM. We created conversational agents to replace customer support agents who used to talk to customer, and it was voice to voice directly. So those were the projects that I created.
So since you have worked with generative AI and you are currently also working with generative AI, and you have seen that shift where companies were adopting generative AI, and you were one of the early adopters of generative AI. So right now, those students who are trying to enter into the field of analytics, how they should tackle it? As you mentioned, DSA is one component, then analytics, machine learning is one component, then on top of that, generative AI is now an additional component, and then we see every day a new LLM model is getting introduced. So there is a lot on plate for a beginner to choose what is right and what is wrong. So as a mentor, what do you suggest the students to start with, and what is the right direction?
All right. See, let's say if you have time, I mean, you're not like I need to get a job in next 10 days. If that's not the case, I would suggest everyone to start with classical machine learning and do it in the right way. First, let's understand what is data, types of data, like learn basic Python libraries, work on the data, create some dashboards. Then, so there are, I'll tell you, in analytics also it's divided. There is descriptive analytics where you have data, you describe this, you just describe the data. Then there is diagnostic analysis where you have data, you described it, now you try to diagnose, like if there's a problem, why it is there, and everything. Then there is prescriptive analysis. After you diagnose the problem, you try to prescribe a solution also. Okay, so that's third one. Then there is predictive analytics. After you have done all of these things, you try to predict the future, or maybe do some let's say work for your customers. So this is like the flow of analytics. You start with descriptive, goes till predictive. After that, it gets into machine learning. So I would suggest everyone to start with the very basics.
Matlab, everyone should start with as basic as Excel.
As basic as it can. Yes.
So what about like so let's say if I have to start, should I start with Excel, SQL, Python?
Think of it like right now, tools is not a concern. See, let's say I want to. This is the data. I want to extract this particular information from it. What tool will be the best? I know Python is the best. Forget about Excel. Don't use Excel. I'm like I've been into this industry 4 or 5 years. I still don't know how to write super formulas in Excel. I mean, even like the business meetings also sometimes I use pandas to create reports for that. So I've been like surviving in this industry without knowing Excel. It's just that think of the tool which is most suitable at that particular time. I knew pandas or Python is there, and that will cover most all of the problems for me. And SQL also. Maybe Excel, I would ignore Excel. I mean, Excel is something which I can study on backside. Whenever I have some time, I'll know it. But it shouldn't be your core concern to learn Excel because it's not being used at that directly. So tools is not a concern. I mean, just start with the concepts. Basic concepts is very important.
So basically, which tool need to be used in a certain problem statement is what everyone is looking for.
Correct.
So one thing is to start from a very scratch, and if you have time,
if you have time,
you should be your base should be very strong. Then post that.
See, that we start from the very basics. Okay, you'll see you're not getting a job offer, you're not getting an interview calls at that time. But believe me, just believe me, I learned machine learning, and I was not able to find a job, or I was not confident. I learned this in a reverse way. I learned machine learning, algorithms, deep learning. Then I realized, oh, boy, EDA to kara hi nahi. I skipped EDA part. I skipped what is probability. I skipped what is statistics. I went back, did the whole thing again. Now that's the best decision that I did in my life, to learn it from the very basics again. So let's say if you don't have time, the other part. In that way, just filter out what particular roles are there in the market. For example, there are very niche roles which require very less knowledge, but for example, prompt engineering. So for prompt engineering, you don't need to have a lot of knowledge. You just very high level idea of how LLM works, and then how to write prompts. Okay, this type of knowledge is what is required. Land a job, but it's not like you'll be able to sustain a job of a prompt engineer. These type of jobs, they come and go. So within that particular job, you still need to go back and start from the basics.
So basically, start from basics and then build on top of it.
Correct.
What about how depth we should cover? Like, I'm talking as a student right now. Let's say I started with the basics and I'm done with the basics. Now I'm in machine learning and I've started working on the projects also. How to tackle the generative AI scenario right now? Because every company that I look at right now, they have that one line mentioned that you should be working on this, knowledge of Llama Index or Lang chain. These are some general terms that they have started using. How to tackle that part?
I think, I've figured it out, honestly. I've been interviewing, I've given interviews. Most of the companies, unless and until you have not written in the resume, okay, most of the companies, what they want is, you understand what is attention, okay, why attention is used, why not an RNN or CNN, why attention is used, what is a transformer model, why transformers came into picture and are important. First thing, this is the theory that you need. Second, consumable knowledge of LLMs. You're not expected to create an LLM. No one will expect you to create. Tell me how GPT works. Answer to that is transformers. Learn till transformers, you're done in theory. Then consumable knowledge of LLM. What are the models which OpenAI give? Which model is expired or not maintained? What is the token limit of each model? Window size of each model? Okay, cost of each model, response time of each model. This knowledge, consumable knowledge, should be there. Then that is, I think, and then how you will be basically using that in an application, maybe LangChain, let's say LangChain or any basic framework. I think that's enough. So if you want to go into generative AI, this is the things which you need. You land a job, and then it's I'm also learning. Still, there is no end to it. So no one can tell you ki by do like this thing, you're done. You're not done. But these things will at least land you a job.
Basically, the core part of how LLM works, that is transformers and attention.
Correct.
Then secondly, how you can, the consumable knowledge that you mentioned, which LLM to use, which is cost effective, which can intake multiple or maybe higher token size. And the last thing is how to productionize it, or maybe how to use it in your code using a framework. So basically, this is a general suggestion that I also give to students. But let's say like now we have you with us, so we have the concrete answer that this is more than enough for everyone. Okay, last question for this discussion. If you have to restart, let's say now you are a student and you are looking for your first job, and you are in this kind of scenario where everyone is rushing behind a new LLM coming into the market every day, how you will prepare for your first job?
All right. See, let's say if I'm in a tier 1, tier 1 or tier 2 college, I know the company will come there will be good companies coming. I'll not focus on anything like MML, this, that. I'll be doing DSA 18 hours a day. I know there will be an interview, 3 questions they'll ask. I need to solve 2.5, I'll get a job. For them, it's clear. For people like who was in a tier 3 college, for them, they need to develop on a lot of levels. First, I'll be working on developing a network. I'll not be shy in, let's say, messaging someone, going into an event and let's say saying just hi to a random person. Okay, that really helps. I'll create a network because that will be the starting point. Now, while creating my network, I should be able to concretely develop something to prove that I know. That can be a good Kaggle profile or some great projects. Okay, so some great projects or a good Kaggle profile. I mean, synonymously, these are synonymous. So if you do, I mean, it's synonymous. Then for that, definitely there's a byproduct that you should be able, a very good understanding of coding, how to basically code, and machine learning algorithms. You know that. No one expects you to be master at latest technologies. Even the people who are working in the company, they don't know. Let's say DeepSeek, they don't know how DeepSeek is trained. Don't worry about that. Okay, no one is expecting you to answer that. Is that if they will ask you, just ask. They're asking it randomly. So that is what I'll be doing. I mean, expanding my network, then creating some great projects. Okay, and byproduct of that, honing my coding skills and the knowledge of machine learning what I have. And I think probably just be persistent about applying or maybe let's say getting that crack through. So it might be the case that you'll say, okay, no one is answering, nothing is like working for me. Go into as many hackathons as you can. I regret not going into hackathons in my first 2 years. I went into like multiple hackathons in my last 2 years. Go into every community event. Talk to every person. Okay. Talk to and try to interact with the person who are senior to you. Maybe let's say if you're a student, maybe try to let's say connect with persons who are working in industry, so that in future they'll be able to refer you. So that's how it works. I mean, these are the things which I might be doing if I start again.
So basically, gaining some technical knowledge, working on your profile, and then expanding your network if you are from a tier 3 college, because network is something that can get you in a proper role and a quicker way.
See, yeah, correct. Because tier 1 people, they already have that network.
Yes.
They have Illumina network. They have the TPO network, Training and Placement Office network. which can basically bring companies. For you, you have to bring companies for yourself, and that will only happen if you have a great network.
Correct, correct. So that was a great discussion with you, Sumit, and I hope you guys enjoyed this particular podcast. If you have any questions regarding your profile and if you want to ask any question to Sumit, you can connect with him over his LinkedIn, and you can drop your question over the comment section also. And for more such interesting content, keep following Analytics Lab.